I'm Anna with ReligionToday.com. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta's announcement last month that the U.S. military would remove its ban on women in combat has become a topic of debate in recent weeks over what implications the policy change has for our culture. We recently posed the question of how Christians should consider this issue. We talked to Danny Akin, president of Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, who spoke about the differences between males and females and addressed the argument of whether both genders are capable of serving on equal terms.
Men and women bear equally the image of God. Women are equal image bearers of God. We are, to use a philosophical term, ontologically and essentially the same before God. But in terms of function, we're different. There are things men can do that women can't do. There's some things women can do that men can't do. The only example that you have in the Bible that would even raise a question about this is when God raised up Deborah as a judge. But he raised Deborah up, go read the text in its context, because the men at that time had advocated their responsibilities to lead and to provide and protect. And so the scriptures have just kind of it's almost like there's not a specific chapter and verse. It's just everywhere that it is men that will be the ones to provide protection for their nation and for their families. And it's just a given. That doesn't mean that there's not a viable place in the military in terms of service for women. I would not deny that. But to have a woman on the front lines where she may engage in mortal hand-to-hand combat, this isn't a video game. This isn't a movie. And I know that there are all sorts of movies out there where you have these stellar heroines that can do all of these extraordinary, incredible things, and they're beating down men left and right. Problem is, that's not the real world.
Some Christians have differing perspectives on the issue, however. Author and blogger Karen Spears Zacharias is in favor of the changes, and we asked her to share her thoughts about women on the front lines.
That's a difficult question for me because I think embedded in that question is some stereotypes and some biases, personal biases. I've long been associated with women who served in war, perhaps not on the front lines in what I would consider the Americans' perspective on that. But these women they were out there on the front lines caring for the soldiers. So I don't really see much different between that and being in combat. We, particularly in Iraq and Afghanistan, have seen women losing limbs, acting as gunners in Humvees, and now it's a matter of just bringing that policy in line with the reality. And the other reality, the other side, flip side to that, is that as long as we didn't acknowledge that women were in combat, women couldn't be promoted. They couldn't earn what they had earned on the battlefield. They could not get that acknowledgement stateside because we refused to acknowledge that they were there. If a woman is quite capable, and she is, proven herself time and time again to be quite capable, it's just a matter of bringing the policy in line with the reality.
Rena Linda Valdson, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at Liberty University, spoke more on the physical differences between men and women and about further implications that such policy changes could have on our culture.
This isn't about equality in the sense that everybody is fit and qualified or should be doing the same thing across the board. Women generally are not built the same physically. And we even see in the military right now, the stress factors among women in basic training are significantly higher than men because they're not built to carry that load in that demanding nature. The Army has a report that shows the rate of sexual assault among women in the military has risen 14.6% per year in the last few years. And so we already have a serious problem. The way to address that is not to place more women in stressful situations with men on combat lines, where, because of affirmative action policies that are being laid out, women have to be promoted through the ranks, not based on merit, but because we want women to move up through the ranks. Men are going to become resentful of that, and we're training them not to respect women. The natural result of that is going to be more sexual assault, not a decrease. I think we need to take a look at the role that our civil government is playing here, and the president stepping in essentially and overriding what we have known for years is we don't place women in combat roles. There are reasons that it's different, and the president is setting a tone for this nation with his support of same-sex marriage now and with the support of placing women in combat. He is being very active in this social engineering of our culture, and people should really ask themselves, is that the kind of culture that they want to live in? And if not, we need to get involved and make change happen.